All right, so this is the problem I have been struggling for a few days now to try to solve and understand. It's been throwing me for a mental roller coaster. There we go. So it's one of the backtracking problems and just trying to understand how all of this works, how you're doing these iterations. It's yeah, been difficult for me to try to understand it. So today we are going to continue to try to move forward with this question and see if we're able to solve it. So what I've been doing is I uh, have looked at the answers yesterday and tried to put it in my head. Today we're going to see, okay, well, did it stick in my head, and see if we can find any insights into this problem. So let's get started. Okay, so given a string S, all right, return the maximum number of unique strings that the given string can be split into. So we're given some string like this, and we want to find how we can break this up into multiple substrings, but those substrings cannot be repeated, right? So you can split S into any list of non-empty substrings where the concatenation of the strings forms the original string. So that's the other thing. It needs to, I can't do um, like A and then AB and then ABA. I can't go like that, right? Because I either need to have this as a full substring and then move on to have this as a substring, or I can do like this, but I can't have A and then AB. Does that make sense, right? Now I can do A, that's a substring, B, that's a substring, and then AB, because that's a different part of the word, but I can't have the same letter used in a segment twice. Okay, so a substring is a continuous sequence of characters within a string. Okay, so the way that we're doing this is, as I mentioned, through backtracking. And what I want to do is I want to ask the question of, okay, so backtracking is answering the problem that backtracking solves is enumerating all of the possible instances in the sample space. So how can I utilize that to solve this problem? Now, the way that I'm iterating through the basic structure is, okay, so I'm going to have some like variables up here, and then I'm going to have my backtracking function, and I don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. Okay, and then I need a base case. Okay, and then I need the actual recursion, and then I will need to call my backtracking. Okay, and then return, and I'll need maximum what? Substring. Okay, so now because I didn't have that variable, I know that I will need something up here. Max substring is equal to 0. Okay. Now this backtracking should... So during the recursion part, I know that the form is using a for loop. And that was something that was really trying to get my head around. So the way that they were doing it is we have something passed in which is start, okay? And so then what I'm doing is I'm iterating for I in range, and then start to length of s. Length of s is going to be equal to length of s. Okay, so, and s obviously is the string that we are passing in. So, okay. This I is now going to be acting as it was like the and or something, right? How were they using this? Okay. So I know that I'm going to pass in, let's see, 0 here, because I know that we're going to start at the 0th, okay? And I also know that I have some set called scene, which has nothing. Okay, so what do I want to do? I know that I need to form a substring is equal to s sliced at what? The start, which should be this start. Okay. And now to I. Okay, so it is kind of the end. It's the end of this substring. Interval end, maybe I can call it. Interval end. Okay. So this is a potential substring. So now I say, like, if substring not in scene. Okay, so if I haven't seen the substring yet, then what do we want to do? We want to include and then recurse and then take away. Okay. So how do we include this substring? So we're going to say, like, I found this A, it's not in my scene, so I want to break right here and then go to the next one. So I want to include it, so I'm just going to say scene.add and then substring, okay? And now I've added it to my scene, so I can recurse again, but pass in this as my new start. So backtrack, and what am I going to put in here? This is going to be this interval end, right? But this is start, and then it starts at start, and then I'm passing in start here. So that's an infinite loop. Okay. So we need to make sure that we break this. And so something needs to increment. Now, this is, so start is inclusive, but this one is non-inclusive. So I actually want this to be start plus 1, I believe. And now we should be good, because this is always going to increase, and eventually we're going to reach the end. Okay. So now I got to the point where I came here, and then I explored this one, and I've explored all of these, right? And now I'm popping back to here, and I want to remove this element that I just saw from my scene, and I want to go back to here, because now I'm going to try exploring this one. So let's say I was looking at B, and then I say, okay, cool. I cut it at B, and then I'm moving on to the next one, which is AB, or just like I'm going to be passing in this as my interval end. So I add B, I pass in the interval end, and then it comes up and explores all of these. Da 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 da. Whoops. Da 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 da. Come on. Da 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 da. It explores all that, and then I just popped back out. Now I'm looking at this B again. So I want to take the B away and then go back to that A, right? So I want to say something, which is scene.remove. I don't know if I can substring. Okay. So now I need some way of always checking if the max substring is, if I've found a larger max substring. Okay, so how do I want to do that? This backtracking should return a number, right? So and so this is something that I'm trying to think about, because I remember the form. It was max substring equals max of backtrack of 1 plus backtracking and max substring, right? That I remember that just from my memory. But I'm trying not to rely on my memory and trying to rely on my intuition and understanding. So how would I have come to that conclusion? And so the plus 1 is because I just broke it. Just broke that, right? Whereas I just broke it right here. I said that I was looking at B. So I just broke it right there. So I'm adding this as a separate substring. So that's where that comes from. And then I'm assuming through recursion that I'm going to be returning back the number of substrings here, I think. So base case, that kind of informs my base case. So if start is equal to length of s, then we return, and we want to return 0, because you're not going to be able to break on that. So, okay, and it's equal to, right? I'm thinking if I'm getting like an off by 1 error. So this is going to be the start, and this will once I've reached, I'm just going to say ABC, right? ABC. So I come to 0. So length of S is going to be equal to 3 because there's 3 elements in there. And I want to stop 0, 1, 2 at index of 2. No, when it is index of 2, I want to continue because I want to count the C. But once it's equal to, that means I'm outside the bounds of the array. So this should be equals to. That's at least my conception. Okay. All right. So we got that. But there's no other return statement, right? So I only have that return 0. I'm not returning anything else. Do I need something such as like current? Okay. I just thought of something else though. Because technically, what if we come here and we do this, and then we get to the situation in which, let's say, let me try to purposefully construct it. We have A, B, C, and then A with something like this. Okay. So I come here, I add this A, and I have now a split of 1. Okay? Then I come here, I add this B substring of 2. Okay, that's fine. Then I have this C substring of third substring. Okay, that's fine too. Great. Now I come here. I've already added an A. This is actually an invalid situation. Right? Because actually, valid would have to be, I would have to add this AB here. And then I could split on this C, and then I could split on this A. Or I would have to have this AB, or sorry, I would have to have this A, I would have to have this B, and then I would have to do a CA. But I can't split A, B, C, and then just leave this A hanging. Okay. And I think what's going to have to happen is my base case right here. So I need to say, like, if it is equal to the length, I need to return length of scene, I think, is the way that I can do it. And the reason that I think this will protect me is that here, if I come to A, this last A, and it's already in my scene, then I'm not going to run this loop. I'm going to try to come back up here. I'm going to hit the end of this for loop. Okay, my for loop is going to terminate, and I'm no longer going to call this backtrack right there. Okay. And now, if I do this, do I even need to return anything? So what if I just do max substring is equal to max of this, or the current max substring here, and then I return nothing. Okay, and then I get rid of this, and I just recurse. And now this should be updated. So a lot of times it gives me, it doesn't like that I'm modifying the variable outside of the function, and we always have to do that little self thing. Okay. So then at this point, I wouldn't need to return anything once it terminates. Okay. I'm going to press run and see what happens. Fine. Output is 0. So I mean we just never reached this line? Let me just reached base case. Okay. And I'm gonna print just the, not a string. I'm gonna print this. Okay. Yeah, so we're not hitting the base case. This is always increasing. That's unfortunate. Okay. So here's our project, our back-end software engineering project, but we're not working on that right now. We are coming here and asking it, where are my mistakes? Analyze my method and tell me my misconceptions. My method and tell me about my misconceptions. Give G's to explain if you can. Okay, so now we're trying to figure out, okay, well, I failed to do it. Where am I making a mistake? What's going on? And I believe this is my third day attempting to do this problem. I'm not going to stop until I get this problem done. Like, understand, I mean. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing this problem. I don't care how many times it takes. Okay. You're trying. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Hold up a second. Oh. Okay. You're trying to split a string S into non-empty substrings. Yeah. Each substring is unique. You maximize the number of such substrings. Key issues in your code. For end interval in range here. This loop excludes the last character of the string. For example, A, B, C, A. And start equals 3, interval end will go up to 3. Okay. So, before I keep reading, let me come in here. I see that it's a problem right here. I'm getting an index. I'm not hitting that last index. So I see that that's what it's saying. I'm not going to look at its solution for it yet. I'm going to see if I can think through it and try to practice that, okay? All right. So, with ABC, with ABCA, why not just, let me just think about it with AB, okay? So, S is equal to, and I'm just gonna I try to make it as simple as possible, that way I'm not doing all that. Okay, so, with just AB, I come in here, and my first call is at 0. Okay, start is 0, that's at this index. So 0, come in here, is equal to the length of S? No, the length of S is equal to 2. So that's not true. 0 does not equal 2. Okay, so I come down to this for loop. I say interval end is equal to 1. Okay. So now I come in here, substring is from 0 to 1, but non-inclusive of 1. So it's only 0. So it's only this A. Okay, that's what I want. If substring is not in scene, okay, well it's not. So we add A, and then we backtrack on end interval, which is 1. Okay. So now I come up here, start is 1. Start does not equal 2. So we come here. End interval is now equal to, we just said it was 1, so now it's 2. Just right there. Outside the bounds of the array. Okay. So, okay. How do we fix that though? How do I fix that? I don't know how to fix it. Because if I take this away, right, if I do that, then this is now going to be sorry, this one is now going to be, at the beginning, it's going to be 0 to 0, but non-inclusive, so it's going to be an empty string, which is not what we want. So I'd have to do end interval plus 1. And then I would need to do end interval plus 1 there, but then that's the exact same thing. So where did I go awry? So I was here at the 0, right? Then now end interval is equal to 1. It starts off at 1, okay? And this backtrack is going to be still 1, okay? But then I come up here and I increment again, and I never do that 1. Index 1, I mean. I never look at index 1. Wait, is that true? Because I come here, start is 1. Start is 1. This is outside the bounds of the array. Okay. But non-inclusive, so that's fine. So, no, because this is the interval end. So this is 2, this is 1, which is fine. We're looking at B. Substring in scene, and then we do this. We come here, and now this one is 2. And start is equal to 3, end interval will go up to 3, and says 3, 4 is never included. Let's see if this works. If it does, we can do an analysis. Okay, we just needed that plus 1. So now let's think about this. So start here. Okay, so this one is going to be, I'm only looking at this AB. So at the end, B is 1. start is equal to 1. I come in here. Int interval is now 2. So range of 1. And this one is non-inclusive as well. Okay. So that's why I need to do it's +1. Non-inclusive. All right, I'm getting rid of this ABA. I don't care about this. I just want to loop through this one. Okay, so start is equal to 0. Okay? So start is equal to 0. I come up here, and that's where we call the base case, or the start of the backtracking. Okay, so here we go. Start is equal to 0. We come in here. Is it equal to length? No, it's not. So we come in here. What is equal to from range. So we start off with this one, which is going to be starting at 0 plus 1. Okay. And goes to length of S, which is 2, plus 1. But it's non-inclusive, so it doesn't actually go to 3. It just goes to 2. Which is, yeah, what we want, right? Because this is also going to be non-inclusive. Oh my goodness, it's just... This one is also going to be non-inclusive, so... Then I come in here, I come to here, interval end is now going to be, is 1. So then I come up to start, and now we have a 1 right there, okay? So start is 1, interval end is now going to be from 2 all the way to length of, this is S, so 3, there. But it's non-inclusive, so it's 2. Okay. So 2 to 2. So we just get one interval, which is 2. We just get one number, which is 2. Okay. So start is still equal to 1. This is equal to 2. And then, but because this is non-inclusive, that 2 0, 1, 2. So this 2 doesn't actually go in there. It's just B. Okay, and then we do that. I mean, so what I'm trying to think about right now is, okay, how can I effectively keep track all of these inclusive, non-inclusive, +1, -1, plus nothing situations in my head, because this is going to come up over and over and over, and if I'm struggling right now with this, it's going to come and punch me again in the next problem. So how do I learn this? How do I conceptualize it? How do I understand this? Let me just, by the way, let me just submit this to make sure that it actually is submittable. Like my solution is, okay, cool. So, okay, let's read this. So you're using globe. Okay, I don't want to know about what I'm doing right. I just want to. Okay, so misleading comment. Length is. The length is 4. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Conceptual misunderstanding. You might be thinking about this like a greedy problem. Just keep adding substrings as long as they're unique. I don't actually think that I'm thinking of it as a greedy problem. Okay, so I need to continue to be aware of those off by 1 errors. I'll probably need to continue thinking about this problem in specific. Yeah, just these +1s, -1s. This is non-inclusive, so then but then this is non-inclusive, so that, and then you're using recursion within this, and so it's just throws me like, okay. So going forward, I think what I'm going to do is I need to return to this problem, but probably after a couple of days. So I'll let my brain sit on it for a couple of days and then come back to this same problem and see if I'm able to think things through. So I think that's the way that I am going to go about this. So if you are interested in that, if you want to join me along on this Leetcoding journey, subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you here. I also make videos which are project-based videos, so trying to learn the skills required to become a software engineer, specifically a back-end software engineer. So if that's interesting, subscribe, and hope everyone has a good rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you guys soon.